salutations. I'm Gil.
And I'm Gil, and this is Strategic Prepper.
Welcome. Today we are going to talk about a video that we both saw from another prepper, Viking Preparedness, and Mr. Viking. I don't know, can we call him Mr. Viking?
Yeah, I don't know what people normally call him. But
I
yeah.
don't know. Mr. Viking has just put out a video very recently, and really just captures the essence of what we need to be doing. And Gil and I, we've been talking about these concepts, but Mr. Viking with Viking Preparedness just says it so well. We've got a link to this video in the description box, okay? So we are going to make sure that you can actually see his whole video. The video is titled, "The One Thing You Must Do to Survive and the Two Things That Will Get You." And this came out yesterday, I think.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, brand new video.
Brand new video. I encourage everyone to watch. Hey, do us a favor, though. If you do a comment, let him know that that we sent you. That we sent you.
Yep.
Strategic Prepper.
Yep.
And I've already talked to him. I have never met him. I would like to. He seems like an interesting guy. So he knows that we're talking about him. And anyway, the one thing that you must do to survive, and two things that will get you. Mm-hmm. So, we got a couple of clips, or one big clip that we're going to share with you. So, the one thing that you must do. Kumpa.
Kumpf. They call it kumping.
Kumping, right.
Kumping.
I don't know. I always say the long version. What is that?
Come out of her, my people.
Come out of her, my people. That actually comes out of the Bible, Revelation chapter 18, in case you guys want to. Or if you forget, you can just read the whole thing. It's near the end anyway. But you will find that statement. And he actually quotes it on there, but doesn't give the reference. That's Revelation chapter 18, talking about the near the end of what the Bible calls the Great Tribulation, and right before Christ returns, to give you a little bit of background. And the world, and we talk about SHTF. I mean, this is like the ultimate SHTF. And we've got a video talk. Actually, we've got a video series on our, one is here on YouTube, and the other, the further detailed explanation is on Patreon. But the ultimate SHTF, if you believe in the Bible and Bible prophecy like we do, that's where it's at. And so that's what he's talking about. Come out of her, my people. And so that is basically a call for what?
Call to action. I mean, come out of her, my people.
Yeah.
Calling to leave. Yeah. So leave the suburbs, the densely populated areas. Basically.
Yes, and it also there's a spiritual aspect, leaving the ways of the world and also returning to God and all this. But and I do believe that the physical aspect of leaving the world system. And so I'm going to play this, and I will try to put this link. I'm not as tech savvy, so I'm going to try to put this video.
You mean like on the screen?
On the screen. I'm going to try to do this after in the editing.
Like a React video.
Yeah.
That's a thing people do now, yeah.
I am talking primarily, but not exclusively, about moving away from the built-up areas. Moving away from population. Getting rural.
All right, I'm going to pause that for a second.
Yeah.
How many times have we talked about this?
Man, we've been talking about, I think since day one, we've recognized that I think maybe early on, it may have not been an end goal early on, but we recognized that was the ultimate form of preparedness.
Yeah.
But I think it quickly became a recognized end goal.
It kind of
we always knew we're going to have to at some point do that.
Yeah.
And
we both did it last year.
Yeah.
And so he starts talking about the arguments that people make.
Yeah.
There's nothing out there. There's no jobs and all this. And his basic view is like, give me a break. There's obviously people working out there.
Yeah.
So there must be some jobs.
Yeah.
And I sent him a comment to the fact that now you have a job. You actually got a new job and tied that into your relocation.
You have to commute.
Me, I went the other way. I mean, I know that the Lord called me out. And I quit my job, sold my house, went shopping for the land. This land opened up perfectly for me. moved out.
He sends a text, hey, I bought it. What?
Yeah.
Selling the house. Oh, okay.
You know, when the Lord calls, you should speak, and I mean, you should answer. And I answered, and then I moved out and started preparing the land and all that. And then the job, the Lord gave me that job, and it's actually a work from home job. Yeah. So you don't necessarily, if you believe in Christ and you are called to move out. You don't necessarily need to have all the pieces. I mean, it's called faith.
And it was a little more structured for us, but it was, I guess, similar. Our plan was actually to move a couple of years from now, because we had bought our house about 2.5 years ago. It would have been 2.5 years at the beginning of last year, right? The housing market was so dang hot, and we happen to live in a part of town that was highly desirable.
Yeah.
So we looked at each other and said, hey, if we're gonna ever sell, we have to do it right now. We can make crazy money on our house. And we said, okay, we're doing it. And so we decided.
I gotta say, so he puts his house on the market, and this is how the Lord opens up doors. He puts his house on the market. Day one, he's going to be selling. Drives from his house to mine. I was in Louisiana at the time. It's like a 9-hour drive, 8 hours, whatever. By the time he gets there, he has like 20 offers.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. And then Monday comes around and we pick the highest offer, and we didn't have anywhere to live either. So I had to look for an apartment, and everyone else was doing the same thing, selling houses. So it was hard to get an apartment, but we found an apartment, and
I bought an RV.
Yeah, we'll find a property, and thankfully one came up pretty quickly.
Yeah. So Mr. Viking is exactly right, and it's very important if you believe that things are going in a bad direction, and all these. This house of cards is going to come crashing down, which I believe many of you're watching this, so you probably do believe it. Yeah. That necessitates some type of action, and he talks about being rural. Even if he says, "How do you know you're out there?"
Yeah, we talked about this morning.
That's
actually.
Right. How do you know if you're out there far enough? He's funny. If you can't get pizza delivered, that's me. I can't get pizza delivered, but you can get like one delivered.
Yeah, so I can get pizza delivered, but it's a small mom and pop shop. Yeah. So does it count? I can get pizza delivered, but just the one.
It counts because then he goes and say if it's got to be in a small town and all this.
I got what you're saying. Yeah, but I can actually get pizza delivered.
Yeah, so
it's expensive though.
But the thing is that
it's like a $25 pizza.
But 2020 should have been an eye opener. How many times have we said this? It should have been an eye opener to every single person
what kills me
in
now
the Western world. I mean, let me finish the thought. You think about the BLM, Antifa, and I'm just going to say the civil unrest in general.
And the supply chain issues. It doesn't take much to disrupt supply chain.
I'm just talking the civil unrest. Yeah. Where was that all focused?
Oh,
it wasn't focused in small town New York, small town Arkansas, small town Alaska. Yes, there are small towns in New York, by the way. Most of them are.
Most of them. You have just the one big city and everything else is woods.
So it wasn't in small town America. It was in your concentrated urban areas. That's where your chaos will happen. This is the point with come out of her, my people, is you got to, if you want to increase your odds, and we have said this before, if you're a serious prepper and you're living in the city, you're not that serious.
No, you're not that serious.
Now you may be a beginning prepper. You may be somebody who's trying to build up to that. That's understandable. I'm talking about the long-term prepper who that is their plan. I'm going to stay here in this comfortable area, and I'll make it. You won't.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that. We've talked about why. Maybe we'll do another detailed video on that. But so that's the first thing is that you must do is you have to get yourself some distance. But then Mr. Viking talks about 2 things that will get you. And I did send him a note saying, "Wow, we think exactly the same here." 2 things that'll get you. And this is why we are encouraging you to go watch this video, because he takes all this information that we've had and he just boils it down into such simple nutshells. 1 thing you must do, 2 things that'll get you. Boom! Wow, that's pretty dang simple. You get that, you've got probably 80+% of preparedness under control. And the first thing, food.
Yep.
And he says, I like the way he says it. And Mr. Viking, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to use your way of explaining this. We may have said it before, but I'm going to give
something similar. I know.
Yeah, I'm going to give him credit anyway. Once you open your long-term storage, your clock is ticking. Your expiration date is ticking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've heard us say this. What is the problem? I'm going to ask you a spot quiz, right? But you know the answer. What is the purpose of your long-term storage? One of the primary we're talking about.
Oh yeah, well it's to get you to sustainability, right? So if you're growing food, it's to get you to your next growing cycle and your food production's all the way up and all that.
Well, if we're talking food, you better be growing.
You should already be.
That's got to be part of your plan. That's why the urban environment doesn't work. At some point, if SHTF, end of the world as we know it, whatever you want to call the bad times, if it's long enough, I don't care how big your stocks are, they run out. Mm-hmm. So the purpose of your stocks is to help you get your food production up and running if it's not already, help you to expand, help you to get to that point. The end goal, which we say, this is part of actually our system, right? The end goal for preparedness minded is sustainability.
Yep.
So with food, and he's so right. Food is one of those things that's going to get you. And you look at, you and I have talked about this, you look at like the siege of Leningrad. I mean, great example. You got a whole city and so many, like 90% starved to death. Mm-hmm. But what was the issue? It wasn't drinking water.
No, it's food.
I mean, it wasn't, they did lack heating. Is North Russia in winter. Yeah. And yet, I think they were able to cut enough trees and all this. But it was food. I mean, people starved. People ate other people. I mean, it was brutal. Food is the issue. And once you open into your long-term preps, your clock is ticking.
Yeah, you have a finite amount of food.
That's it.
And so hopefully it's enough. Maybe it's not, and that's where the problem.
And the thing is, and this is what he's pointing out, and we've also said this, is your plan needs to include a way for you to replace that food.
Yeah.
Hunting and fishing and all that is not going to do it. No. History showing, you've explained before in other videos, Great Depression's a perfect example. Deer populations almost extinct.
Yeah.
Rabbits, squirrels almost extinct.
Yeah,
so we've already covered all that,
right? You're not able to do that.
You're not going to. You have to be able to prepare your own. And you just don't have the space to do this in an urban environment. Even if you did, you have one of these, urban gardens or something like that, right?
I don't know.
Community garden.
Yeah.
I tell you what, you're not going to be able to protect that. People are going to get hungry and they're going to rob your garden and all this. So you have to come out of her, my people. Get out of the urban areas. And you got to take care of food production. Mm-hmm. All right? You have to prepare your own food. It's got to be well balanced. Mm-hmm. We talk about planting. All right, second pop quiz.
Okay.
All right. And I know you're going to get 100% on all this because you know your business. When is the best time to plant a fruit tree or berry bush?
It was like 10 years ago.
Right. The second best time?
Just right now. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Got to get this stuff going. Some of these things take years.
I
started my asparagus plant last year, and I will plant more this year. It's going to be another 2-3 years before I can eat asparagus off of this.
Well, and heck, I started planting 2 years ago when I was still in the suburbs. And so some of this is just experience. My first potato harvest, 90% of my potatoes were rotten because I had the ground too moist for too long and I waited too long to harvest them. You don't want to figure that out your first growing season when you really depend on it.
And when you're eating up your emergency supplies.
And your kid is starving to death and you just screwed up because half your stuff is rotten.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a video just on this topic here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, and the other thing, actually we already kind of gave the answer to this. The other thing is...
you touched on it.
Bad people.
People, and that's part of the problem with suburbs.
That's the other thing that's going to get you suburbs, cities.
Even if you converted your whole backyard to a garden, right? And there's videos of people doing that for other reasons. Protecting it is the other issue. There's more people, you tend to have more crime, and it's just more variables that you can't control. Yeah. And and one thing he mentions too, the authorities are more focused on the population centers, right? Law enforcement and everything. That's where they're at. That's where they're going to focus on.
The authorities are more likely to come and take your food and confiscate it. For the good of the community.
And even like with COVID and lockdowns, right? They're able to control your behavior if you're with everyone else versus out in the country. There's parts of the country that never locked down, even when it was at its worst.
Did you just mention?
No.
Well, we're gonna be locked down. Dang.
But yeah, so that's the other component is the further away you are, the less resources they have, and the less interested that they are in what you're doing.
Yeah. So excellent video, and I don't know how long this video is. Not all
like
that
10,
long.
15 minutes.
Yeah, but and I'm opening this up so I can get the title correct because he has kind of a long title. The one thing you must do to survive, and the two things that will get you Viking Preparedness. Watch it. Let them know we sent you. We have a link in the description, and we're going to have some other videos on details of some of these topics, particularly the gardening coming up early this year.
Well, and heck, so this is our first year, first growing season cycle with our property, so we really can go full bore now, and so that'll be exciting content.
But we spent years learning.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I've been growing berry bushes for since out by Lake Charles, and
well, and even like what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to take what I did in the suburbs. I'm just going to scale it up, and make some changes, and then we'll see how it works. And it's going to take a couple seasons for me to figure that out.
And I actually saw another advertisement for some services, but that basically made this point: when crap hits the fan, you're not going to walk out to your backyard and all of a sudden become a master grower. It's not going to happen.
It's a skill.
You're going to starve if you plan, if that's the plan. So we encourage you. Viking Preparedness encourages you. Get out, make the move now. Time is diminishing. We all can feel the currents and we can see the signs. Our time is diminishing, and time to move. And watch the video. And like I said, let them know that we sent you. And other than that,
stay safe, stay prepared.
all right.